Hello, fellow megatennists, and welcome to another episode of Hello, fellow megatennists. I'm Larrue. With me is Glibbb,
Hello.
Neb,
Hello.
and Spider.
Hey,
We've had a long break, so hopefully you guys are all refreshed. All of us. We're all feeling good now. Nocturne HD has been announced for the West, May 25th. Are you guys excited for a $50 PS2 game?
Do you mean a $70 HD remaster?
don't buy the DLC.
Who
I
buys
would have
the
been
DLC?
I would have been looking forward to it if I didn't just play this again. But
Yeah, I'll buy it and play it in a year and a half, I think, maybe, when I get the
This.
itch to redo.
We've already got confirmation there's not going to be any pre-order bonuses, and it looks like we're also heading the way of no limited edition or collector's edition. So standard edition, $50. If you are unwise, you could buy the digital collector's edition, which is like what, $70?
yeah,
They've actually did this weird thing where they bundled all of the background music DLC together. They bundled all of the easy mode DLC together, and yeah. But the best part of the only part that really matters is that it's coming to Steam. So yeah, I did a poll on Twitter, and it looks like most people are buying the Steam version. Or at least the most people that follow me are buying the Steam version, meaning most people who follow me are wise.
That's because they're Twitter users and they're already on a computer.
Or a phone.
Yeah, I'm like, who uses Twitter on their phone, on their computer? Like,
Everyone. They log into their Bloomberg terminal and get on a Twitter.
But I also see that there's a pretty large amount of people that are buying the Switch version.
Noobs.
I wonder about that.
Noobs.
That's like, I mean, it's kind of interesting because I don't think it's gonna affect their perception of Switch games, Atlas games on Switch in the future, because it's a drop in the bucket when the PC one's gonna sell hand over fist, and I bet the PS4 version is still gonna outsell the Switch version, even though it just looks slanted right now.
The PS4 version sold better in all the Asian regions too, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's gonna trend that way.
It's
Yeah.
bizarre. I just want to go on one thing. It's extremely bizarre. I didn't notice this first. The easy mode is more expensive. Why would that not be free?
No, so what I mean by that is there's a merciful mode, which is literally just a difficulty modifier. You just
Yeah,
pick
yeah,
that and
I
it's
know.
easy.
That's what
But
I'm talking
I'm
about.
saying the maps are they had a map that makes it so you get lots of money easily, another one that gets lots of items.
Yeah, like they did it for Apocalypse and SMT4, I think, right?
Yeah. They were separate DLC in the Asian regions, but in this one they're bundled together. And I thought that was kind of unusual that they would do that, because they did that with the music too. You could buy the music, I think it was like $2 a pop for like SMT1, 2, 4, and I think Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just like one like $10 purchase or something for all of them, which is not the same. Well, actually, I think it's a little bit.
I think is it
Price.
$20 difference, 50 versus 70?
So you're basically just paying full price for everything.
Yeah.
That's so strange. Why would they not make Merciful free?
Well, Merciful is free. I'm not talking about Merciful. I'm saying the maps are not free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you might be saving a little bit with the music there. That's about it.
Yeah. And I saw some weird thing on Steam where they removed the trailer that they had on Steam, which showed some of the voice acting off, the English voice acting, and I gotta say I'm not a huge fan. I'm pretty particular with English voice acting. I kind of feel strongly about how it is. It has to suit the character, and to me, that usually means translating the vibe of the character in the Japanese voice acting like over. And I think they did a poor job. But given that it's quarantine, maybe that'll give them a little bit of a pass. Yes.
This rim sounded better.
Yeah, that's true. Significantly better. And I listened to both. That's one of the ones where I liked both English and Japanese, actually. This one, it seems like I'm not gonna like the English voice acting, especially because they gave Chiaki this like kind of like brutish woman voice instead of like a more refined, but I don't know. She's kind of like dainty in the Japanese version initially, and then that makes her transition like way more interesting, I think. Speaking of that, today's podcast is a spoiler cast, and we're going to be spoiling Nocturne. All of us have played Nocturne. Some of us have beaten Nocturne a little more recently than others. And I think we're going to just go through that. I wanted to start off by doing like an overview, I guess. Who wants to kind of fill that in? Go ahead, Glibbb. You're good at overviews.
Oh, I had one for the story, but what do we want for overview? What do you mean?
Well, I guess for an overview of the story, you play as it's groundbreaking. You play as a young Japanese teenager in high school who's meeting up with his friends. But there's a little bit of twist. Instead of being in a boring high school setting, you're transformed into a demon by a mysterious young boy and his grandmother or whatever that lady is. And you have to make your way through a desolate spherical world and destroy the sun.
So I gotta ask, which versions did each of you guys play? Console and
I played a totally legal on dump on an emulator. I used a PS2 BIOS that I definitely owned. I 100% uploaded my own copy of the game. Extremely legally done. I was going to play it on a PS3 because I have a PS3 and a copy of the PS2 game, but it didn't display on my TV well. I don't know what's going on. I tried messing with the settings and it just stretched out a lot, but I don't remember that happened with DDS. So I don't know what is going on with that, but
all right. What about you, Glibbb?
I'll go next. I've played Nocturne like 2.5 times. The first was a half time. I played on PS2. The 2 times I finished it was on emulated on PC, and that was the Freedom Route and TDE.
Oh yeah, what route did you do that?
So the very first time I played a while ago, I'm pretty sure I didn't remember what it was at first, but I'm pretty sure I got Freedom that time. I did this time too, and I'm 100% sure it's because the way you do it is you just disagree with everyone. You're like, no, you're stupid. And then you end up with that. And I was like, oops.
That's why I got it too.
Oopsies. And I had a save. I was going to go back and do TDE, but my emulator just started corrupting my save. And nice. I don't know if I can go back to that save anymore. So
you can't.
Oh well. Did you do any of the calculations or no?
So basically I had a save right before I went into the obelisk where I'd done several of them, and I was going to finish them and then do other stuff. But I did a Shrine of Bando at like level 70, which we'll talk about later, which please, you shouldn't do that.
I hate that shrine, brother.
It was
why is Bishamon the hardest boss in the game?
That bro? Motherfucker. There's
no reason for that.
We're gonna get to him. We're gonna get to him.
Yeah.
All right, Spider, what did you play it on?
I played the Maniacs version. And I only did Chiaki's route this time around.
Nice.
Yeah, I was supposed to do Hikawa's, but
Yeah. I did a lot. I did Isamu's route on regular. I did Demon Ending, regular Maniacs, PS2 version, and then on HD Remaster, I did Hikawa, I did True Demon Ending, and I did Chiaki. There's really no reason to do different reasons unless you just want to see slight variations. But
and now when you get the Western release of HD, you can do them all again for achievements.
Yeah, which it's pretty easy. It's really easy to cheat them if you stop, or like it's just about the time where everyone starts to transform. If you like save there, you can
right.
But it's like a 20-hour commitment. Yeah, and I played it on PS5, PS4 Pro, and Switch, computer, and my PS2.
And the Chinese version.
And the Chinese version, which I played vanilla. I didn't beat the vanilla version though. I just played it till I keep calling it the bank, but it's not the bank. It's Mott. The thing with Mott in it.
Diet building.
I don't know why. I just think I associate it with the word bank, and I always call it a bank, but it's not.
It's a government assembly, man.
So I guess we should talk about the gameplay a bit. or do you? I almost feel like we didn't do this story justice because
Yeah,
really
we can talk more about like the characters and what reason
Go over it
either
again.
means.
I made the summary. Remember?
Yeah, do it. Go.
Give me a second. I gotta pull it up.
Oh
All
my
right,
god.
here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So you're a high school student who's planning to meet up with their two friends to talk to your teacher. And at the meeting place on the roof, you see a blinding light and it knocks you out. When you wake up, a blonde kid force feeds you a little bug thing that turns you into a demon and then leaves. So when you get your bearings, you find out that the world has been ended and is now swarming with monsters through an event called the Conception by a man named Kawa, and who is apparently working with her teacher. The Conception is heralded by a being named Kakatsushi, who puts everyone together in a battle royale, and whoever wins can shape the new world to their liking with a thing called a reason, which is like an ideology. In the hospital, all your friends are gone, so they don't really know what to do. So you're kind of just chasing Hikawa through the world to find out what happened and find your teacher. While you're exploring the world, you find out that he's leading a group of demons called the Assembly of Nihilo, and they believe everyone should be like a hive mind with no emotions and only peace and serenity and stuff. And their reason's called the Shijima, and they're opposed by by Gozo Tenno, sorry, in the mantra, and they believe in absolute power and that the weak should have no rights or anything and should only live at the one with the strong. While chasing Akawa, you see your friends around sometimes, and then during the story, they're totally changed by the world, like he mentioned earlier, Chiaki, and she is changed by the world, and she feels like she's chosen by Kakatsushi, and it gives her, I guess, privileges that other people don't have, and she sides with the mantra to form the Reason Yasuga, and your other friend Osamu feels let down by all the people around him. He feels like he needs help doing stuff in the world, and then that changes his mind, so he feels like he can do everything alone now, and sorry about that. He believes in finding true comfort in, I guess, being alone rather, and
Solidarity or isolation.
Yeah, isolation. There we go. Your teacher originally sides with Hakawa because basically she had like a problem with the way the world was going, but then when she self-reflects and she realizes that she didn't even really agree with Sejima, and so she feels used, and basically everyone's fighting over a thing called Magatsuki, which is like kind of like a life force thing that flows throughout the universe. And when you get a certain amount of life force or Magatsuki, you can summon a god to help you bring out your reason in real life. That's just the story, the premise of Nocturne.
And then Dante shows up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about TDE. At some point, an old guy talks to you, and then you end the world. That's the game.
Yeah. It's, I guess, important to note that the original version of the game does not have true demon ending. That's the same version that I played when I played the Chinese version. Essentially, instead of any Amala network content, and I believe the old man, was it the old man or was it the young boy? One of them is not in that game. It's just not. And also there's no Raido and there's no Dante. So in Maniac / Chronicle, Lucifer basically hires either one of those guys to basically test you. Essentially, is what they're there to do. Yeah, that was a good summary. Good job.
You're welcome, sir.
So the gameplay is traditional in the sense that it's kind of what we expect from like more recent Megaten games, in that we have the press turn, and it's I don't know what to say besides that it's good. I actually really liked it. One thing that I did in the HD remaster version is that after version 1.03 or 1.02, they added the ability to select your demon skill, so it's not randomly generated anymore.
Yeah.
You could either select or you can shuffle. So the shuffle is essentially the same thing as random, except you can do it quickly instead of like all the menus. And then the selection, you could just choose your skills.
Some people were like trying to be edgy, and they were like, "We shouldn't have skill selection."
I think we shouldn't have it, because what I was gonna say is after I selected the skills, I made like a perfect party, and I didn't have to change demons like for most of the game. I just had the same demons, and I would just be basically immune. It made it very easy and boring.
You could have shuffled.
I like having the option to I guess, shuffle instantly. I feel like my issue with the random inheritance for skills in Nocturne is that they're weighted, and the weighting is very bad. Like it's not even like a fun with like
Yes.
you have to like keep even the good skills have like like barely any chance of popping up, so it takes forever to get what you want.
Well, I think that's good because it incentivizes you to not, or it basically it's a way to discourage you from shuffling until you get what you want.
No, I get that for sure.
But
I agree with that, but I feel like it shouldn't be weighted that much because I feel like even if I want like 2
but
skills, it takes forever. Like I don't want like a perfect. I don't want something perfect. I just want something
it's
usable.
not like a real barrier though. It's just a time barrier, and it's like
That
I'm
too.
still gonna do it. I'm still gonna put all the breath skills on Daisojo. You can't stop me.
That's also why
If you want to make it impossible to do, that's one thing. But don't make it like, oh, you have to spend 3 hours reshuffling. Woohoo! It's like, okay, I'm still gonna do it. It's not enough.
that's why I like Soul Hackers too, because Soul Hackers kind of force you into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have. It would be good as if they had the affinity system for Apocalypse, and they had like you can only get certain skills at all. Like they will refuse certain ones on inheritance because like I'm not affiliated with it. Huh?
Nocturne has that though.
Does it?
Yeah.
I was able to get whatever I
You
wanted.
can't get skills based on their body parts. Like if they don't have claws, they can't learn claw skills. They don't have a tail, they can't learn tail skills, stuff like that.
I looked up a guide to put fog breath on Daisojo, and it said to put fog breath on an elemental.
Yes, I did something like that. That was weird. I got
like elementals don't have mouths.
I forget what I did, but I managed to get Fog Breath, Warcry, and
I thought mine had Fog Breath too, actually. Now you say that. I have to look though.
Maybe it was a Matama. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't think it was that.
Whatever. Speaking of buffs, there's a common meme that we're not allowed to say because of the climate we live in. But buffs and debuffs, no. Buffs and debuffs are very important in this game.
Depending. I found that so the first time I played like normal, like just if like typical, like if I was playing
right,
how I would play. So I used buffs, debuffs. I focused on trying to get like critical skills to make sure that I won't have a tough time in the game. And I found that it's pretty good. But then the second time around, I used this the strategies that the speedrunners use, and it like makes the game way faster, like clearly. So one of the things you do is you get a Tengu, and you basically just ride the Tengu until like the end of the game, and you make a magic build Demi Fiend, and you prioritize getting certain Magatama early. You have to like make sure you use the vending machines in the beginning of the game to get Soma, so then you have money to buy Magatamas later, like and stuff. It basically makes it so then you could breeze through almost everything up until like I don't think I hit like a roadblock until around I think when you have to go back to Kabukicho prison, I think. And even then it wasn't crazy hard. It was just like I just had to just basically spam like tornado on most things, and then I would switch to I would basically you build this really strong Demi Fiend that's like resistant to most things and has really good magic skills, and it just makes it easy.
What does Tengu figure into this? I don't
because
get
it. He has like a really strong magic stat, and he also evolves into Karamba Tengu. So by the end of the game, he's like one of the strongest demons you can have, and it's very cheap to get him because you get him in Nihilo, very beginning, like very early in the game. It just made the game ridiculously easy.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you use this against Lucifer though? You need Pierce, right? It doesn't work on magic.
I don't know what the strat was exactly because by the halfway point, I kind of stopped following it, and I was just kind of just going by ear because I had the general formula down, and I didn't know what the strategy was like wanted you to do. I just kind of did my own thing, which meant Lucifer took a lot longer than normal.
That sounds that sounds so boring, bro. My run,
I can send you the speedrun strat. It's pretty good. It makes the game way too fast though. Like I beat the first time I beat it in like 18 hours, I think, with that speed run thing. I think the fastest way you can beat is like is a lot lower than that, like 8 or something
Yeah.
crazy hours. But it makes the game dumb easy. And then the second time I did it with Merciful Mode, and it's it's dumb.
Yeah.
Don't use Merciful unless you're like a baby, because when you play Merciful Mode, what it does is it reduces accuracy for the enemies, increases your accuracy and your dodge, and so you basically are always buffed. Increases your crit rate. It like makes it so ridiculous that I was doing like 2k damage by the time I was fighting the brothers, the Kinky and all the other keys.
That
The Key
explains
Bros.
the live streams. Like one of the celebrity was playing Nocturne, and they were fighting the Preda at the beginning, and the Preda missed every single move.
Yeah, they were probably
that Preda is a baller. I remember they almost killed me because they got like 3 crits or something. It was like it was a situation where if they got one more crit or didn't miss or something, I would have fucking died in the very first encounter. And they go first, so it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
What strategies did you guys use? Because I didn't ever do a physical Demi Fiend. I always did magic.
My first try, I didn't know anything about Megaten, and I just like did even stats, and I believe I did mostly magic. But this time I did just Daisojo and physical. That man is crazy. It basically trivializes like almost every encounter. I didn't do TD, so I don't know if you can bring him to loose for anything, but
you can.
He's forever.
He enabled me to beat, like I said, the Shrine of Bando at level like 70, when you're probably supposed to be like near max level doing that.
I think you can do that at level 70 because I was at
like. Well, obviously you can because I did,
75 or something like that when I did it. I think
it's incredibly unwise. It's like if the AI feels like it, they will individually kill each of your units by doing like 5,000 damage crits or whatever. But yeah, for just physical, I used which one did I use the most? I used like Heatwave Forever, and then I got the what's the Black Frost move when you max out his Magatama? Deadly Fury? I don't know, it's like a physical AoE. Yeah, I just did a lot of physical AoE. It was fun.
For my run, I was physical, but I was trying to like take notes. So I wasn't really caring about the gameplay much. I was on New Game Plus, so I just kind of fused demons that were like double my level the whole game. Yeah. Like I was in Asakusa with the Michael. Like
wow.
Yeah, the only thing I spent time on was Daisojo, and everything else I was like, this is good enough. And I died quite a bit.
I can't even remember what my end game demons were, because most of the time it would be for like the last run I did, which is the Merciful one. I beat the game with Demi Fiend, Kurama Tengu, and Black Frost. Like just them 3. And it wasn't, I didn't even need the other 2 necessarily. I just wanted them to have extra moves, because for when you do Merciful Mode, you can beat almost the whole game without having any demons in your party. It just takes a lot longer. Like Ongyoki actually ruined me, because like that I did that with just Demi Fiend, and it took like almost an hour.
Yeah, he like triple buffs himself every turn.
Yeah, it was so dumb. It was like the dumbest thing, but like after that I was like, whatever. The demons that I know will have some sort of trick like that, I'm just gonna rock like a couple extra demons in my party. I gotta say, like, the way that the amount of thinking you have to do in like just a regular playthrough versus Merciful is completely different.
Right.
You would not learn how to play a Megaten game if you did it that way, because I never had to buff, I never had to debuff, I never had to even use a weakness at all, or exploit weaknesses, because I would just do auto most of the time, and his Demi-Fiend's punches, even though it was a magic Demi-Fiend build, would still kill things in 1 hit or 2 hits.
It's literally the safety mode. Not
Yeah, the only benefit I had was that it got me to like slow down when the characters were talking, and I would like try to translate the stuff because it's in Japanese, and I kind of came to the conclusion that the English translation is very different, like the lore of stuff, because they had to always do like a close approximation instead of like 1-to-1. So I don't know if it was always character limits or if it was that plus censorship, but it's like different. Like True Demon ending is very different.
What's the difference?
The difference is that in the Japanese version, they explain to you that there's hundreds and millions of hundreds of thousands, I think is what they say, of worlds that experience the conception, and it's all run through the providence of Amala and the Great Will, and that's a perversion of the natural order of things, and that's why you have to side with Lucifer to break the cycle. That the whole point of the Amala Deep or whatever is like are the people who are not people, the demons or whatever, that are super against this cycle where humans can create the world in their image or whatever, and that it should be basically like a world of strength sort of scenario, kind of. They never mention any Yahweh, they never mention any like, timelines or anything, which when I was playing it in English, I didn't really see anything like that. It was just more some of the language that the Lady in Black used in the third and fourth Kalpa and the fifth Kalpa. They were all like weirdly more vague than in the Japanese version. But because of the dialogue being so like specific in the Japanese version, it's like you can basically extrapolate that no game is connected to Nocturne except Apocalypse,
Jack Bros.
And only because of the DLC. Like, and even then, it's like, well, that's kind of still fan service.
well, they're kind of connected, but not like in a timeline way. Just parallel worlds.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a rabbit hole for a different like podcast discussion, but I found that almost every game is like that way. Because you guys started reading the Ayakashi Monthly, it kind of made me mad dash to read the 25th anniversary. So I was like, I don't want to be the only one that doesn't know it.
Oh, I still haven't read that one. I've had it for like a year now, and I haven't read it.
Don't worry, I don't know anything.
Well, that's a given. But
wow.
I want to read it, but
it's long.
The Ayakashi.
I finished Ayakashi. I'm at 25th anniversary. The Maniacs.
Yeah, I'm saying like, but the Ayakashi Monthly, Ayakashi. I don't know. That I didn't finish reading it, but seeing your guys' discussions about the lore, I was like kind of motivated me to kind of like one up and be very careful with reading the.
Hate you.
I'm pretty competitive, and to me, like, knowing thing is, especially Nocturne. I'm like, I want to teach Spider something about Nocturne. She'll be like, wow, but
I haven't DM'd you asking for stuff, and you said send me something. Look me on red. That's crazy to me.
You know. Okay, well, this is not something to get into in this episode, but I don't know. I found the lore. Is the way it's explained in the Japanese version is so specific and so like to the point, versus in the English version, it's like they just either they don't understand the lore or they're afraid of like, I don't know, backlash. I couldn't figure out why it was different, because, and when I keep saying it's different, I just mean that if you just take like, for instance, the speech about Hijiri in the Japanese version, English version, in the English version, it kind of leaves it open to interpretation a little bit, where I can see why people would argue about him being Aleph, but in the Japanese version, they specifically tell you that he did something in his current life that resulted in him being punished. So
that's what I was thinking too, because in the cutscene, if you notice, it's like normal Hijiri in the cutscene where he's getting talked to. So I'm thinking it's clearly implying that it's regular Hijiri, right?
Yeah, it is. But then because of the way it is in the English, you could definitely make an argument. There's room for, oh, well, maybe she's not talking about like Hijiri, maybe she's talking about life. But in the Japanese version, it's just like, no, they're just talking about something he did before the end of the world.
Yeah, so, it said mortal sin, so.
Yeah. So like, I feel like that's something that I paid close attention to, and I wish I replayed the English version after beating the Japanese so much. But that's kind of like my biggest takeaway was like, man, are all the Atlas games like this? Like, are all of them so different?
Well, like
Or
not only that, but like we call them the reason representative.
Mhm.
I have a very different impression of them now than I did before after reading all that. Because like they're fictional. They're not like they're considered not actual gods in their worlds, right?
Yeah,
Whereas I thought they were just like
radio was.
false gods, like fallen. But no, they're just yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I
It's
thought I
like a
thought
minor distinction, but it makes a big difference.
maybe I misread it, but that's how I read it. Where like they didn't have enough power to manifest as real or whatever. That they weren't even ever real in the first place.
Wasn't it just a radio though? I don't remember them saying that for Noah or Iron Man or Bale.
I sent you Noah's thing, but like it's Noah's not actually based on anything apparently.
Oh, you
It's
mean
just
that? I thought you meant like in the context of them not
Yeah,
having
he
power or
seemed
something.
made up.
I know he's like not a. I don't think. I mean, okay, it's kind of complicated. He's not. It's not that he's like literally made up. I thought it was like he was so isolated that he didn't have like the socialization to have a name in the first place, to something to be called by. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
they explained it in the Ayakashi Matsuri. He thought of it as like being a wandering god and all that. He thought of it like Noah, so he named it that because it was similar to Noah's story, not that it was actually the god Noah.
I know that part. I'm talking about like that the being, not not the name itself. I don't know if that makes sense. Whatever.
Yeah, and also there's like a Buddhist term in here, but it's like basically the soul, kind of, not really, but whatever. And so they mentioned that it's made of that and something else. What was his said? The wandering spirit, that, and that's how he thought of it. I don't remember now. I have to actually go look it up.
I mean,
Well,
it's fine because I think the only one that really is based on anything, or that I found interesting, is the only one that's not really representative. It's the teacher's one, because she's based on that witch or whatever.
Yeah, the
Ghost of
witches
the
used to
Witches.
wear. Yeah, but she is still considered fictional too because she didn't have
Yeah.
support.
They literally call her
Yeah.
fictional in the game, though. Hello?
Hmm?
They literally directly call her fictional in the game.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm saying like I think it's interesting that the one that's easiest to draw a parallel is like the one that's like the most explicitly told that it's not like they're like
Oh
secret
yeah,
thing.
okay.
Yeah,
On that.
I didn't just catch that with the other representatives. Though. I thought it was just a radio.
Mm. And then
How is Armin fake then?
Who?
Armin,
Armin.
Angermanu? How do you
Oh.
say it?
I think that has something to do with the Christian Bible or something.
Yeah,
What?
'cause
Yeah.
it's pretty complicated because I think that the way that they interpreted Ahriman in Nocturne isn't supposed to be like the Zoroastrians. Jeez,
You
that
think it's like
would go.
Satan or something?
I think it's supposed to be when the Christian Catholic people started to condemn those sort of people, so they turned those gods into being evil. Like evil. I don't know a lot about Anger Manu though, so like that's probably something for like Antonia to explain. But yeah, it's complicated. Is the thing. The problem with Nocturne's lore is that there's a lot of meaning behind everything. At least that's how I read it into it. Like even like specific things like where people reside. Like you were pointing out how mannequins live in that place near the river, where in that river you're trying to figure out the significance of it. I think that it was more to do with the idea of like they're literally like clay people coming
Oh, that's
from
that too. They said they
yeah.
actually said in the book. They mentioned it's supposed to
Yeah.
be reference to Adam, I think, actually, something like that.
Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of like that where if you keep reading into everything, that like every like location, if you're familiar with it, but also if you read into like their logic and whatever, and that location is, it feels like there's always a significance to it. And it's pretty complicated. I kind of liked the lore, like thinking about the lore while playing the game this time around, just because I understood it a little bit more. But it's still something where if you have to have like a pretty good understanding of like a lot of things to get the most out of Nocturne. Otherwise, it's kind of like there's no story here.
Yeah, I agree. I found it on my second replay. I enjoyed it a lot more than my first one. I think it's very layered. Honestly, in a vacuum, this game would be like not really. I don't really care about it all that much in the vacuum. It's the gameplay and the story and stuff. But like in context, this is in my top 5 Megaton easily. Maybe number 3.
All right. Oh, we didn't talk about the visuals. I just want to talk about the story more because it's just a lot. There's so much.
Well,
stuff
we
to
also
talk about.
didn't fully go through the gameplay because you guys went into lore mode. Let's
The gameplay
close.
sucks. Let's talk about Lorian.
What? Hell no! It's fun. It's
The
fun.
gameplay's
Turn
fun.
fun.
Have you
There
ever
we go.
punched a pixie in the face and killed it in one crit?
I am dead
That's fun.
asleep.
I think the gameplay is really good. It's like every if you actually utilize every part that they give you, if you go to do the fusions, if you use items, if you're rotating through Magatama, it becomes really fun. The only, like I said, my only complaint was if you play it on Merciful, you're robbing yourself of an entire experience.
Yeah, that's for babies. If you're not a baby,
yeah, at that point you should just watch someone play it because it's fun. I mean, if you don't like thinking and playing games, then I don't know what to tell you, but
You probably don't play dungeon crawlers.
yeah, don't play Dungeon Crawlers.
Yeah.
I found my only complaint is I actually didn't like most, especially the I think it's the obelisk where you have to fight the sisters. I just didn't like that. I thought it was really boring. It never really.
Was.
Yeah, it's just like why, but
The boss isn't even fun either. It's just like, okay, yeah, let's get through this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd forgotten a lot of the stuff in this game after having not played in a while. And like I've seen the sisters in DX2 more recently, and I was like, damn, this fight is probably gonna rule because they're like super hardcore in that game. And it's just the most baby fight ever. It's there's a healer, there's a buffer, and there's a damage. It's like, oh, okay. Guess
Yeah,
I'll just
I
kill
really-
them.
Like some of the areas, like there's not enough fusion areas, so you have to go walk all the way back to, view something if you need it, unless you want to just grab something, but that's usually not good enough.
Yeah, I started to just ran straight for the end. I was like, fuck this.
What about you, Glibbb? You said you just didn't care for the gameplay.
I mean, it's okay. It's just like I prefer more standard RPG stuff, you know. I
guess
think press turn's cool.
Uh-huh.
I think press turn's like cool, but like it's not special to me, you know. Like people, like I don't know. I don't want to go on a whole rant about Nocturne, but it really annoys me when Nocturne fans talk about how JRPG combat is only good when in SMT when it has press turn, and that's really soured me on the game. It's really soured me on press turn as a whole. So now I play, I'm like, I hate press turn.
Sucks that you let other. Please don't make that sound again, please.
Bro, I don't know what to do. First off, I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know who you're talking to.
I will say that the master talk about Nocturne, I think it's bad because I enjoy Nocturne's press turn a lot, but it's not as good as Strange Journey gameplay, but it's really good.
I wouldn't go that far. I actually prefer Nocturne's Strange Journey gameplay.
Okay, well, you're just like hot take boy today.
Hello, that's not a hot take.
Well, Strange Journey is you queue up all your attacks and they go, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
a good
remember.
RTS.
Yes.
I just don't like co-op.
RTS.
I don't want to get like I don't want to get like a whole thing again. But I think co-op's kind of bland. I feel like it's just.
What's better than SMT4 is Smirk and the other thing.
Smirk
Okay, this
and
is a hot
AI.
take. I like Smirk and
Yeah.
SMT4.
Smork.
Okay, well, I don't want.
All right, yeah, whatever. Let's put count on this. I
Yeah.
just want to close it out. I like press turn. I don't think it's the best system ever, but I think it's pretty good. Except Magic shouldn't miss, and just nerf Magic or something. Magic should not miss.
I thought it was
Anyway.
weird that it missed Nocturne too.
Yeah, it
I
made-
like that it missed actually. 'Cause I
It
was
made
like,
a lot
wow,
of
I don't
fights
mind
really
it, but it was just
stupid.
weird for me because I'm so used to DX2 now that I'm like, wait, what? It missed? What?
Yeah.
yeah.
I had some jarring moments like that too, because I haven't played an older game in a while where I'm like, what the fuck? All right, but one last thing I just want to run through. What was your favorite boss fight in the entire game? It's not Kagetsuchi. Don't say Kagetsuchi.
That's not even a fun boss fight. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm,
They all kind of felt the same to me. Most of them were the same. Beast
yeah.
Eye or
Oh,
the other eye.
my favorite boss for this run was Mott, because when I fought him, he didn't use Beast Eye once. I just
Yeah.
killed him. It was so funny.
I was terrified when I went. I was like, I remember this motherfucker, and he died in like 3 turns.
Okay,
It was weird.
I've played it. I think how many times? Like 4 or 5 times that I beat it from October to now, and not once did Mott ever pose a challenge or a threat. It was like one of the most minor parts, a super small road bump, yeah, on my journey. I think the fiends were harder than Mott. I don't understand. Like I suppose what I was explained was that whole thing, the meme, the Jim Reaper thing, was like a glitch or like a rare occurrence.
Yeah, it
But
is.
it never happened to me. He never did anything challenging. He was pretty easy.
Yeah, the first time I played, he didn't go like full like 19 beast modes in a row, but he did murder me in a single turn, and I was very surprised by it. But then this time around, he has like no HP.
Funny thing is too, when I fought Bishamon, like that was the equivalent of Mott, like the meme of Mott to me.
Yes,
Because like he
the
Dragon
true
died,
Mott.
then spammed the Megadolin 5 times in a row. I'm like,
Oh
what?
yeah.
Well, that's what you're fun of Tetracard. Bishamon 10, yeah. One of the 4 Devas.
He is the
Yeah.
hardest boss in the game by far, bro.
He
I don't know
is
what they were on.
brutal.
Yeah.
But also, you were probably underleveled like I was. That's probably part of it. If you went in at like level 90 when you're probably supposed to be there.
Bro, my demons were over level 90, bro. I'm just
What?
yes.
You were level 90 and you had that much trouble?
No, I was in New Game Plus.
Oh, okay.
I trying to think of what bosses I enjoyed. I did kind of like killing everyone's reason.
Yeah.
Punching the mud dolls.
Oh, that's a good one. I
Don't
forgot.
get me started. I loved killing mannequins. I don't know, like
I felt
so
so bad.
I was playing on like double speed just to go faster, and the animation of them stabbing you in super speed is so funny. They walk up and go like, there's like
I don't
one
know.
damage a hit.
I would get so excited when I would get a random encounter with. Yes.
No. No.
Watching
You
Debbie
reminded
just
me,
watch
though.
them.
I really like the Armin fight. I like that fight a lot. It's really fun.
Yeah, I like the lore parts of those fights. I guess that's part of why I like tearing them down. But they're not even. I don't know. I felt like most of the boss fights are pretty much the same boss fight in a way. I don't know. Maybe it's because I got like ruined by a stupid speed running strat.
The only bad
Yeah.
thing about those fights is that everyone else dies the first Sama and he just leaves. I wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
I wanted him to die.
I gotta ask who's your favorite character, like, because to me,
Oh,
Like I
before we
said-
do that, can we do least favorite
Yeah.
boss?
least favorite boss.
Yeah, I do least favorite.
Jeez, I think
Because mine is
every
Lucifer
single
by
fiend,
far.
every single fiend was bad, and like, well, specifically the fiends leading, like everybody up until like maybe Mother Harlot, all of them were pretty boring.
Even Dante or just the Scully ones?
Oh, sorry, yeah, not including Dante or Rhino. Though Rhino was really fun to. I love fighting Rhino because I was just like, I remember when I was using him in.
The soy face?
Yeah, I was literally like, "Ooh, McCoy,
It's Rhino.
And then he uses like a buff like Yoshi.
He has an epic cat.
I'm just like, yeah, like I don't know. For some reason, I guess that's what people experience if you like Devil May Cry. You go like, oh, he's doing the like pizza or whatever. I don't know what. But like,
Woohoo!
I was
The
like
wacky
excited.
pizza man.
I was just excited to fanboy over the selection of demons that they use for Rhino. I also hated that stupid like running get shot thing that happens in the Kalpa. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that was so bad. I agree.
Kaiwan.
When he chases you.
I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had to like go behind the doors and find his stupid ass. I didn't like that.
You mean the Nihilo puzzle? Is that what you're talking about? Kaiwan?
Yeah, you had to chase
Yeah,
him. and
that
you had-
was
Puzzle in the third Kalpa. Not the whole thing.
God, yeah. This is not. Yeah.
Also the Spectre when I'm all in network. That was an annoying
The
early in the
10.
boss too. That was kind of just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the last form of him almost got me. The very final one, where he starts
Fine.
exploding. I was like,
Oh,
oh
he dead?
shit.
You suck at the game?
I forgot he did that.
Just kill him, bro. He doesn't do it then if you just kill him. You tried that? You tried killing him?
Glibbb, you're a noob.
Is that a no? I didn't know.
I didn't die to him. What are you talking about?
Okay, like the story.
You can't prove that he killed me. Also, I didn't need level 90 demons to be Shamantan, so...
Look, bro.
Alright, next section, we're we got audio
first-
I definitely
visual.
want to talk about
Before we
the
switch,
visual and
I
audio.
wanted
Yeah.
to say Lucifer sucked with the boss battle. It took 10 minutes. Not even 10 minutes, like 30 minutes. Because he has like so much health. And he sucks. I hate him. That's it. Thank you.
He is a real motherfucker.
Ooms?
Lucifer.
Bishamontan. Oh, Lucifer, okay.
Still?
What do you mean still?
You no, sorry.
I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
Lucifer, he sucks at the boss battle.
Yeah.
Bush wasn't cool though. I like Bushimoden. He's okay.
So to start off audio visual, I want to do a pop quiz. What is the greatest sound effect of the entire game?
Getting when you use a physical hit on a like pixie.
That's
or
num-
any others.
That's number 2. What's number 1?
The best sound effect in the game is Thor screams.
Oh, that is pretty good. That might be top 5 actually. Now that I'm thinking about that. But come on, number 1. Think about number 1.
Number 1.
It's a fiend.
Oh,
Give your
yes.
Shattering sound?
Oh, you mean when the chatter teeth?
No, when Trumpeter goes, he
I
gives
want
an
that.
epic speech about the land of the dead, and he looks straight into the camera and does the doot meme.
I don't even remember.
You don't remember that?
I like that.
I didn't fight any of the fiends the first playthrough, and I fought them in this one. I was laughing so hard. We have to splice that in somehow. I'm gonna do that. The episode's gonna open with trumpeter meme.
I mean,
building up the
what else?
building up the sound effect just for no one to remember it.
I can't believe
just-
this.
I will say that I was like really bothered by some of the audio at times because I think it's ever since one of the first things I've ever talked to Spider about is like Demi-Fiend's shoes, and because of that, like I was like hyper cognizant of like whenever he's walking on different surfaces, the sounds of his shoes, and it always bothered me. I mean, it's not even what we talked about when we first talked about his shoes, but it's like it really bothered me how like he could be walking on like any given surface and it just would not make the right sound. So I was really mad like at that one particular thing.
At like environmental context, Foley noises. That's what you're mad about.
Yeah, I'm like,
Had it right in a
dude.
couple areas, like with the marble floor, it would squeak a little bit.
Yeah, that's like the one area like that, and like I don't know.
The rest of the time, it's like.
Yes, please. He's not wearing those kind of shoes. I also I can't remember if it's this one now. We talked about this a lot, but the voice acting of the demons. I love the voices of the demons in this game a lot. Like
Yeah.
it's just one of the best. Like all the cutesy demons sound cute. It sounds perfect. It's like the opposite of Rhino. When we played Rhino, I hated most demon sounds. We had a fax machine demon. Like what the heck?
Alp was literally terrible. Worst thing ever.
The sound effect of them flying. Oh God. But I don't know. I really liked it. I liked most of the music for the most part. Even forced battle, like when you don't really hear it that often unless you get forced into a battle, so it's kind of interesting. But I guess I've been so like bred on that meme of like, oh yeah, look, it's like it's the song, the One More God Rejected, and for the most part, I like the music, especially the other large map, not the main one you hear, but the one towards the end.
Lost area?
Yeah.
Or final area, I guess is what it's called now.
Super good. Yeah, I know. Why did they change the name? Or
I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure it's last area on the CD, but on the concert it was final area. So I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Speaking of the concert, we should talk about the concert. It was boring. Or safe. Safe is the word I would use. It's the safest.
But do you want
concert
to
ever.
go over what the concert was for the folks at home, like
Yes.
me who didn't watch this or know whatever that is?
March 20th, 2021, Atlas Japan ran a concert that was mostly in celebration of Nocturne and featured a list of our track listing composed mostly of Nocturne tracks. Performed by Laid Back Devil, the same people that did the Chaos concert for the 25th anniversary of Shin Megami Tensei. And I didn't get to hear that concert much because like partway through you had to like pay for it, and then I had to like rush to pay and whatever. But this time around, they were in a super controlled environment where they're the only people in the room. It was a pre-recorded performance, and the music just sounded pretty safe. They played most of the songs you would expect from a Nocturne concert, including like Large Map, Final Map, the opening, the staff roll, and they did some like other covers, like they did Ginza from SMT1,
A2.
and A2. Yeah, A2 was a weird choice for them. There was a lot of weird choices.
Yeah, you
but
think they would have thought B2 or something, a really popular song.
yeah, I think they just probably did it because they like that song. Because I don't know.
I mean, that's the first time they smiled was when they played that song.
True. And overall, that concert was fine. I just didn't really. I'm of the mind that if I hear people playing songs that I already know, the composer, that I want to hear them kind of reinterpret it a little. But I understand that this concert was more of like a true to life, for the most part, 1-to-1 performance, except the synth sounds were usually wrong and the bass sounds were like, and it's in terms of the choice of the pitch and whatever, really, really ugly sounding. But I don't know. That is a pretty good interpretation of the music. What did you think about the concert, Spider?
Well, I'm not a music expert for sure, but I was pretty happy with the tracks that I like from the game that were played, like Amala Temple and Last Area.
Yeah. The other thing they did really well is they kind of transitioned from song to song really well. So they picked like really good songs, but they just wouldn't take breaks. So there'd be like 5 songs like all in a row, nonstop, but it didn't feel like it transitioned into each other. It just felt like that song feels good to play after whatever song,
They were definitely playing them in order, though.
Yeah, they
But
were.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just because the game transitions well with the soundtrack like that, or who
Yeah.
knows?
I'm kind of sad they didn't play Force to Battle. My only requirement for that podcast for that live stream was for them to play Force to Battle, so I can get a screenshot of it saying Force to Battle in English, and then I could go like, look, like everyone delete your uploads of Fierce Battle because that's not what it's called.
I love Fierce Battle.
Ugh. Ugh. Not to mention, every time you hear the Fierce Battle song, it's always an easy battle. So it's like, oh.
Well, if we had gotten a collector's edition, maybe they would have fixed that.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed out about HD remaster. Don't get me wrong. In terms of visually, I really like Nocturne. The only thing is for HD, although all the models are updated, backgrounds aren't, so it looks so jarring at times because you'll see like really good, or I guess like PS3 era looking models, and then the backgrounds are still PS2 era, and some of them are super flat or like very basic, and it looks awful. And then the cutscenes also will switch to 4D, 4x3 sometimes, which looks awful.
Yeah, the lack of blur in the background really shows how old it looks.
Yeah.
The lighting changes too are also kind of. I mean, it's not bad, but it just looks different.
It's bad in places where where Demi-Fiend is supposed to be dark. So what we mean by lighting changes is that basic the models have different lighting and they don't always the way that they're supposed to in different areas. So if Demi-Fiend's in the shadow, sometimes in the environment he will actually get darker, but sometimes he'll be still kind of bright looking and it'll contrast way too much. It kind of breaks the immersion for me, but I know that not everyone cares about that sort of thing. But playing the original, I was like, I like this weird blue haze that it has for the most part. or like it'll have like these weird, like this foggy yellow feeling through a lot of the areas. It just looked really nice visually on the PS2. And maybe that's kind of me being like a snob. But
Yeah, when I emulated it, I don't know if I screwed something up and just never fixed it in the settings, but it seemed very blurry. There's a lot of motion blur, and the shadows are fucked up. And I tried to install something to fix that, like some kind of hack or whatever you put in. And it came out alright, but I'm looking forward to see how different it would be in the HD remaster. Because even with the issues you have, I think it'd be better than that. Because it looked pretty ugly performance-wise, but the aesthetic is good. I've always liked the way that the designs come out in 3D and the way all the buildings and stuff look, except for the cubes are kind of boring. I don't like cubes.
the cash cubes?
No, like the cubes you ride to do stuff. I don't like them.
Oh yeah. I just feel like that's supposed to fit like their meta narrative or whatever.
Yeah, there's probably a real reason for it. I just don't like them. Don't be cubes.
While we're talking about the visuals, I played most of the game in first person mode because I was in New Game Plus, and that's really
Super
fun.
good.
I like
Yeah,
it a
it's
lot.
so much better, dude.
The only thing I didn't like about it is I feel like the game clearly wasn't made for it, so it was like a lot of parts was really awkward to do it.
I didn't even
Yeah.
consider that. Is that an option somewhere?
You have
Yeah,
to
it's-
beat the game.
In New Game Plus, you can select and toggle
Okay.
it.
I've never done New Game Plus. That makes
Also,
sense.
it makes the Kalpas a lot funner, bro. It's like
More
let's go,
fun.
bro. I don't care. Okay, I don't care. I hate you. Oh my god. Okay.
The
Anyway,
only other
more
I do
fun.
Yeah,
Actually,
the more funner. Anyway, it's great. It's a really fun time. I feel like classic S&T dungeon crawling.
All right. I was gonna just say my only complaint is Demi-Fiend's walking and running animation is super ugly. Like I think they're so terrible, but I always have that complaint with almost every JRPG. Like main character running and walking always looks so like not unnatural and bizarre. But I guess maybe it's just Japanese people can't run well or something.
yeah, that's what they all look like.
It
It's
might
like a
be
professional.
PS2 era content too.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a PS2 era like phenomenon, but God, please run normal. It's so
Larrue
jarring.
wants to see them do the Naruto run everywhere. Arms way down to the side.
I
Crouch down.
can imagine him doing that.
Wait,
He doesn't
imagine
seem like
me
the
or
brightest
Demi.
kid. No, Demi-Fiend.
I can see
see
you
you
doing
doing
that. Yeah.
I can see doing that.
I mean, look at his shoes. Like you don't know
They're
what he's
terrible.
capable. Yeah.
They fit with the design when he has the jacket on, but the old jacket. But
Yeah, not the
yeah,
which
I don't know why they didn't change that.
that's another complaint. This is like not actually related to the game, but so for the concert they announced some stuff and basically not announced, but they promoted a lot of things. And one of the things they promoted was the life-size bust of Demi-Fiend that's gonna come out about sometime either late this year or early next year. And it's like interesting that probably the best possible thing they could have done was like done like a $200 Demi-Fiend, like the leather jacket he wears, or the other one with the demon icons on the sides. They could have just made those, and they could have charged like literally like $200, and they would have sold well. And they didn't do that, which is super weird to me because they made the shirt with the ugly the ugly tattoo shirt, and that was like $50. Imagine making actually good clothes, you know?
Didn't they do the
can't-
demon decal one once?
It
Oh
might
no, that was
have.
just a sweatshirt, huh?
I think it was a sweater. I don't remember. But it's like they could have just done those. I feel like that's easy money.
About
Like
that too.
I know people say like, oh yeah, port the games, that's easy money. This is the easiest money they from me anyway. I would have bought like 2 of each.
That green sweatshirt is actually nice and wearable. It's
Mhm.
not, you can't tell it's game merch, so I like that.
Yeah, that's the best part. Like when I wear my Demonica jacket, like people will be like, "Oh, that's a pretty nice jacket." Like I'm like, "Yeah, you don't know that I'm a gamer."
You slowly put on your Demonica helmet while nodding.
But like, yeah. Anyway, that's just like a weird aside I had to like shove in right there.
Well, yeah, I guess to wrap it up, yeah, I like the soundtrack a great deal, so much so that I bought CDs of the the whatever you told me about. Is it
Yeah,
related to
Merciful Mode.
remaster or whatever?
Yeah, it's the one that has every single release of the soundtrack all
Yeah.
together, including the super horrible Duke of Pianite's piano arrangements.
I mean, he's a good piano player. I just don't like the songs.
Yeah, those are
Pianist.
weird. I tried
He's
listening
a
to
good
those.
pianist.
Correction Rue is on the scene.
But no, he is good. But it's kind of like the same thing with the band. They're a really good band, but like the way they play the songs so like just exactly as the songs are is like boring. And then Duke of Pianite, the way he has to like do all these crazy it's like Purple Prose but for music. That's Duke of Pianite. It's like,
Yep.
come on.
It's a little over the top.
Yeah. Jeez.
Impressive, but over the top.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess the last thing is like really just a summary of the end, like to wrap up the podcast in a neat little bow.
Yeah.
Overall, I very much enjoyed my experience. I think that if I had to like rank them, like because I played so many different versions of the game, I would say PS2 version is like my favorite. Like just playing it on PS2, hooked up to a CRT, just like that version was like the most enjoyable as the one I had the most fun playing. Then shortly below that would be the PS5 version playthrough, because if you play HD on PS5, it doesn't have any like lag at all. The that one meme of Matador still looks kind of bad, but it doesn't stutter or slow down at all, really. And that's kind of nice. Then PS4 Pro looks okay, and then Switch was like the worst. And then the worst of the worst was the Chinese Switch version, which they've improved, so it doesn't slow down nearly as much as it did. So I guess the gap between the Japanese and Chinese version has been reduced greatly. But it's just dumb to play the game on vanilla and pay for either Raito or Dante. I would recommend Nocturne to everyone. I don't know.
Except babies.
Except, well, no, you have Merciful Mode, so the babies can play too. I think that it was just a very fun game. I played it so much, and even though I kept saying that I was burnt out, it's more because I like was doing so many secondary things, like looking up the lore, because it's such a fascinating game. It's one of the ones where there was a lot more to it than what people kind of talk about, and it bothered me. Like the more I would read about stuff, the more I'm like, this is what you're talking about. You're not talking about the crazy Buddhism in here. Like,
Yeah, like I would look up something or was with like Chiaki's route and she summons the Bell Avatar. I was like, I wonder what this design is based off of. And then, 2 hours later, like, oh, okay, it's based off this little statue and a moth. Great.
And you don't get that discussion ever. It's always just like, punch God in the face. It's like,
yeah,
it's so reductive. It kind of reminds me of like Persona 2 people, but
for memes, what do you expect, man? You think they're going to be like, there's going to be a like 900-word essay meme?
Yes.
We could probably do that.
Why don't you start creating some memes then, motherfucker? Let's see them.
I made a whole video about like killing one particular meme, die. Just like
you're prejudiced against memes, man. What's that like?
I just found that the more I played the game, the more I wanted to talk about the other things, and then the smaller the group of people I could talk about the other things with became. So initially I could talk about anybody or talk with anyone about Nocturne, but then by the end, when I was talking about the lore, basically just Spider, Glibbb, and this other person we know named Antonia, and they're the only people it's like cool. Of the hundreds and thousands of people.
And that's why they should translate the Ayakashi monthly. So
they should.
We can touch more
it's
people.
cool when you get into the lore. Like I can't get over it. I really can't.
But that's my great summation. I would give this game like an 8. It's like really good.
Real quick before I get into my thingy, when you said the thing about Matador, the lag, I'm kind of skeptical of Nocturne ever running that well, because when I played my game, it lagged there too, and like I like the one spot in the game where it lagged, so it was really weird for me.
I can't remember if mine did or not.
On
I don't think it
emulation?
did.
Yeah, on emulation, yeah.
it okay. So when I get it slows down on like the base PS2, it'll slow down, but on the other versions, it would be more significant to the point where it doesn't look like it's going from like I don't know 30 frames to like 20 frames. It looks more like it's going 30 frames to like 10 frames.
Okay, that
That's
makes
that's
sense.
what I'm trying to say. It's such a more marked version. The PS5 version is way closer to the PS2 version. Is all I'm saying. It's that one part is the only part that really lags. But everything else is the same. It's buttery smooth. They've even got one of the weird things is auto battle would slow down on especially on Switch. It slows down, but on the PS5 it runs exactly like the PS2 version, which is like super quick. I snapped my finger so you could know.
That didn't render, so good try.
But
Thank you for telling us, though.
yes,
Well, I'll go next then.
yes,
Yeah,
do it.
go ahead.
Basically, I want to ditto what Larrue said. It's really good. Everyone should play it, but I should say everyone should keep in mind that I think Nocturne, what makes Nocturne shine is placed in the context of the series as a whole. I don't think you can really like look at Nocturne by itself. So I think people shouldn't just blindly tell people to play Nocturne by itself and then play other stuff. Like you don't really, I feel like you don't get a lot of Nocturne if you don't have context of like 1 and 2, or even some stuff. Well, not really 4, but there's a lot of context in Nocturne that you won't get unless you have a better understanding of the series as a whole. So you need to go back to play other stuff and then go back to Nocturne.
I think that does help a bit.
I think it makes it more
Nocturne was
interesting.
my second game, so I
What was
still
your first one again? Oh,
Digital Devil Saga.
Yeah, DDS, I remember.
You're a good friend for
Smart.
remembering. I don't remember what anyone says.
That's tragic.
So why do you think that it's good to play the other ones? Because for me, the only reason it would be good is to see how much of a contrast it makes, because it breaks a bunch of the conventions of the first two games. I would say.
That's why, though. I think the biggest theme in Nocturne is that its whole thing is it's like reversing themes. Well, not honestly reversing, but it switches around themes, and it's about how the symbols in it don't necessarily mean certain things. And I feel like a lot of people forget that, or not forget it, but maybe don't even know that in Nocturne. Like I feel like when discussing like alignments, for instance, people don't know really what they are. So when they look at Nocturne's like reasons, they just see it as totally different from alignments. They're not in the same area because they have vaguely different symbols using them. Like Chiaki uses angels, or Hikawa isn't like clearly isn't Christian. Like it doesn't have Christian symbolism, that kind of stuff.
Which, like, as another aside, I thought I was when I would look at the Japanese like fandom, like because it was something that occurred to me is I wanted to see what the differences in interpretation for Nocturne or any Megaten was, but Nocturne specifically. They still kind of do this thing where they'll compare the two the reasons versus alignments, and I think the way they do it makes sense, or it made sense to me, because they they make the point of that Chiaki has angels on her side, but her alignment is closer to, or her alignment would logically be closer to what a chaos ending would be.
Right.
Like, and I kind of like that, because to me the idea of juxtaposition of the angels versus chaos, like it coexisting, is really interesting, because like the one meme that I find funny is that law and chaos are the same.
It's so dumb. Like, look, how can you think that? Ironically,
They're the same. One
That is-
becomes the other.
That is so unenlightened centrist. Like, you cannot actually seriously think that.
I just think it's funny. It's such a funny meme, and I think that is the funniest like evidence to point to. But yeah, Chiaki's Yosuga, it's chaos, but with angels. That's
While we're talking too, I did find a spot in the Ayakashi magazine where it does directly say that Hikawa is law and Chiaki is chaos.
I could kind of see that, but it's like
Makes
what I liked
sense.
about some of the talk about SMT 1 and 2 specifically is that they draw lines, like they specifically will say like, oh yeah, this is like light law, and it's like it's interesting that within like the Megaten like dev team, they understand more different shades of law and chaos, but they specifically kind of go a certain way with the endings. They're not always exactly. I don't know. It's not as basic as the way people kind of interpret it. And I think reasons are just like the evolution of that, because it does the same thing. It's not exactly chaos. It's not exactly law. And I think that, to me, that's the exciting part, is that since there's a lot of breathing room to discuss it, it makes it more interesting than just being like, yeah, it's law, because it's not. It's there's more to it. And I think that purposefully giving it a different name makes it so that you can talk about it in greater detail, but of course no one ever does so.
True. I guess for my wrap up, I agree with everything except Glibbb saying don't play the game unless you've read a bunch of books or something. I don't know what he's talking about, but
I'm about a book. Games. Like 1 and 2.
whatever he said. I think my opponent says you shouldn't play the game unless you've read everything. I'm saying maybe you should. Everyone should play it. It's great. If you're a baby, play Merciful. If you're not a baby, play regular. If you hate yourself, I guess, or something, or want to prove something, play hard. It's great. I hadn't played it in a while, and I always kept it in my top 3-ish or so. And I was a little worried coming back to it that I would find it more dry or boring or slow. But I didn't. I was entertained pretty much the entire time, except the very beginning, which is... I don't really like the very beginning. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, I love the very beginning.
Okay, well, you're a psycho. Well, you've also played this game 9 times in the past 6 months, so you have to like the beginning. If you didn't, you would kill yourself.
Science. I'm sorry that I have the pursuit of science.
Scientifically, I prefer destroying things, punching them.
Yep. Well, my cats are long-lived, so
mine too, thankfully.
Okay.
Actually, I think you helped my cat live longer because you the one that was sick.
Oh.
Anyway.
Great game. Still in my top 3. Nocturne is fun. Nocturne is good. Go play it. Spider, do you have a wrap up?
Yeah, I don't think you need a whole lot of knowledge to actually play this game, but I think it really asks you to be curious about its themes and look into it. Like it's not going to just sit there and just shovel feed you unless it's Lady in Black. But that's kind of a necessity more than the game thinking you're stupid.
Yeah.
I should probably clarify that when I said the thing about context, I don't think you need to know it to play it, but I think you need it to fully enjoy the game. Like to truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think you would enjoy it more if you I agree with that.
I think a lot of the complaints about no story are because there is all this imagery and symbolism and stuff that is not familiar to the majority of the audience, I think.
Yeah. I think that's a problem, is that when people kind of interpret the story, since they have no like point of reference, they don't know what a amal is, they don't know what a prayer wheel is. This is a dumb save point, and like who cares? Like I think that a lot of
that's me.
A lot of the not knowing is what leads people to the conclusion that it has no story, but it's like it is the Shrek meme, like it has layers. Even the dumb cash cubes are supposed to be like relevant to the meaning of the game. Like
really, bro?
Yes, they are.
How? I'm wondering how.
It explains it in the Ayakashi Monthly.
Yeah, just read it.
Come on, Glibbb.
I read the whole thing.
Glibbb, you can't enjoy the game fully unless you've read all the magazines.
No.
We went over this.
I will say that if you played the vanilla version, which is the version without like the fiends and stuff, it is a lot worse of a game in terms of story, because the Lady in Black explaining things to you is kind of what makes the game better. Because
I will agree with that. If we're talking about optional stuff, like the first time I played it, I was very like, I don't. They seem like they ran out of time on the story or something. But then, you start like you go down to the Kalpas. I did most of them this time. And she's just like, would you like to hear exposition? And you just get like 9 minutes of cutscenes. It's like, okay, now here's something to talk about.
Yeah, and it's cool because I like that it's optional, because you can extrapolate a story without it, but it does put the onus on you, which I think people find off-putting. I think people want to just, they want the like 5 characters to stand in a circle and talk about what's happening over and over again.
Yes, if this is these are the two alternatives, I prefer this version. Not have every single person at a party go, but wait a second, doesn't that mean the obvious conclusion? That's right, and here's why. Oh, but I have to speak too now.
Story does
Like
not
we
count
know
unless
they still
it's
exist. They didn't disappear. You don't have to cycle through all of them and comment
Yeah.
on this. Shut up.
Spider, I'm waiting for your like eloquent speech about this.
Yeah, do it.
About what?
Your eloquent speech, because you're the Nocturne person.
Speech.
I don't even like Nocturne that much.
How could you not like Nocturne?
Strange Journey's better.
Strange Journey is my second favorite, but it kind of flip flops depending on my mood. Honestly, they're both
Yeah.
the best games in the series, in my opinion.
Whoa.
Yeah, I will say that Nocturne's lore is the most interesting lore of all Megaten. Period.
That's definitely true. I agree with
I
this.
do like the characters more in Strange Journey, though, for sure.
Yeah, but where's the speech?
Oh, I don't know what speech I'm supposed to be giving here, though. But yeah, there's so much stuff. With the vanilla version, that all you get is pretty much what the Miroku scripture, which gets axed in Maniac's version, or Dante's whatever his
Mhm.
journal, and that doesn't really help you with anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like all that, and you find out like there's stuff like what Hikawa, and how he made the Amala drums or Amala drums, and
which
all that stuff, and how they connect to like I don't know. I think it's really cool how they make that network work, because you're going through like this giant organism, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Which-
just
You just kind of triggered this other, like, my other big thing about this game is a lot is lost because of the, like, I've talked about, like, the dialogue being slightly different, but the terms being different. Amala versus Amara is super different.
yeah, and
it
like
means-
cutting out the meridians. You're like, because the meridians are like the chakras, so you're kind of missing
Yeah.
that point with the Sephiroth and all that, and how that mixes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Wait, I didn't get that
super-
part. I'll talk about it later. Never mind.
It's just like it's just a shame. I really hope that they're somehow able to do it. Like maybe put a booklet inside the English version that kind of explains everything to you.
Please translate the Ayakashi monthly.
It's just all the dead notes in one booklet. You can read that.
Yeah. Okay. Before we end, I do want to we kind of talked about these like overall, but I need your favorite part of the game and the worst part of the game.
Okay, and then I have one tiny thing after that, and then we're done. Okay. Glibbb, you go first.
Oh, can I go last? I can't remember my.
Oh my god.
I'll go
Least
first because
go me later. I can't remember my least favorite. I gotta think about that.
my favorite part of the game was playing. Okay, so this is stupid, but I was playing Merciful Mode, and it was just fun to me to auto battle like bosses and just watch Demi-Fiend like punch things like quickly and then kill them. That to me was super funny. It wasn't really fun. It was just entertainment, like kind of like when you watch if you watched reality television or something. It's like that surreal, not really engaging, but you're consuming. So that was something. The actual more serious part is that I really, really loved like paying attention to the mannequin story, like that whole like part, like going to their little land, watching it get all torn up, like you get to the introduction of Sakahagi. All of it's super interesting. That part was so fun, and just I liked the voice acting a lot for the entire game, but for them in particular, except actually no, I was Fudomimi's voice actor sucks, but the rest of them were really good. And it's just fun from the very first interaction when you go to the underground to like when you like see them all massacred. I just loved that. And the worst part of the game is I didn't like anything about Amala except the lore. Like I really hate I'm gonna stop calling it that. Amara. I really hate the Amara dungeon stuff. I thought it was really boring and tedious, especially the Rhino shooting at you or Dante shooting at you. It's like the worst experience in the game.
I like the little survival horror aspect to it, although it was annoying and stupid.
There was one part where I actually got jump scared.
Yeah, he walks out the door and he immediately starts shooting at you. He was like, oh.
No, it was the part where like you can like you're like in that room with like there's a couple of tower or
Yeah, he comes around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, and I literally dropped the controller.
What's wrong with you?
I just was not expecting him. So when he came up, I was like, and he has that dead face, so it's like doesn't help. Okay.
I actually really don't like how he looks in Nocturne. He's like,
He
his face is so weird to me. Dead eyes,
ugly,
like
yeah.
doll eyes.
Okay, I can go for least favorite pretty easily.
Okay.
I don't like Dante.
Yeah.
Wacky Woohoo Pizza Man gets a -1.
Yeah,
You
no,
don't
I'm
like
I'm
Rhino.
really glad that the Rido version is coming out. I mean, I like Dante in Dante's game, Devil May Cry, but I do not like him in here. I don't like cameos in pretty much any game.
What about Jack Frost cameoing in Snowboard Kids?
I mean, that's Jack Frost. He gets an exception for everything.
All right, just needed to check.
What about most favorite? Or bestest, as some people might say.
Most
I don't
funnest.
know, maybe the hundreds of hours of reading.
Ayakashi Monthly was their favorite part.
No, but I really love the design work. The environments aren't always very interesting, but some of them, like the Mala Network, the prayer drums. I didn't like Bell Avatar at first, but I really like that design now. And there's, I don't know, I really like the design work a lot.
We have to
Music
talk
is hit and miss.
about what's the worst song in Nocturne?
All of it with what is it? Is Microsoft Albert. I don't like the music vocals.
Who? What?
I kind of hate this battle. I'm not gonna lie.
Horse Battle, yeah, it's pretty bad.
I love that song.
It's pretty mediocre. I do think that the that weird vocal thing could be pretty distracting, especially because you know that it's like in English. Maybe if we were Japanese and listening, it probably wouldn't be a problem.
I like the vocals in the Fountain theme though.
Oh, that's because it's kind of like Mongolian
Chanting?
throat chanting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I hated Ikebukuro, maybe. I think it's the one with the string that goes. Bow. You know the one I'm talking about?
Is that the where you go into the subway or whatever, and it's all dark?
I think so. It has a string sound that just killed my brain. Although in 2x speed, it's kind of a banger actually, because I was speeding up the game a lot.
Your favorite songs too, or no?
Who?
Our favorite songs. We didn't tell that.
Oh, favorites? I don't know.
Well, they didn't play my favorite song, Sound Tests.
Oh yes, that's my favorite too.
My favorite
Obviously.
song is the Law theme from Metatron. I like that a lot at the end of the game. It was very cool.
Chorus Law, okay.
Of course.
Bro, it's cool, bro.
Typical.
I did like the staff roll. I was explaining to my girlfriend because she was like, "Why do you keep listening to that song?" And I was like, "Well, I tried to explain the story of Doctor, and I was like, it plays this song," and she was like, "Wow, I could see that being a little emotional." I was like, "No, you don't get it."
Shut up, you bitch! Get out of here!
It's actually pretty.
You don't get it.
But yeah, staff roll is like the best song that's actually in the game.
I guess so. Yeah, I like a lot of the songs. I don't really hate. I don't have super strong feelings. I just like it overall, and there's a couple that really annoy me, like Ikebukuro. And to wrap up mine, the worst parts. I don't like how slow it is in the beginning. I think Bishimoto can go fuck himself. He's bad. But I don't really have a lot of complaints about. I guess I already aired them out. I don't really think there's a worst thing other than kind of how it ramps up a little slow. And my favorite is I'm a gameplay gamer. Unlike you lore nerds. So I like the impact that Demi-Fiend had on the enemies. I liked how you could customize them so much and build them up in different ways. And I had a lot of fun with just crushing demons and nerds.
There's one thing we didn't talk about that I really feel is really important. One of the highlights of the game is the cutscenes involving any kind of like reason exposition, because it's always done cinematically and they always play with lighting in very like beautiful ways. Highlights are like when you first meet Vegeta hair guy in Nihilo, and he like gives his exposition and he's like, it's got that red and blue. And then I love Chiaki's where she's sitting at the desk and everything, and it's like that white and red. It's so beautiful. Some of the best visuals like in media for me is those, you know.
It reminds me of a Studio Shaft anime.
I
Yeah, I
don't,
agree, actually.
I don't know.
And all the
Glibbb,
cutscenes are really, really nice. Honestly, they add a lot of atmosphere, and they don't feel like they go on too long either. It's just
yes,
phenomenal.
yeah. They get to the
Yeah.
point and they're well staged. I don't know about the lighting. Again, it might have been the graphics on the emulation or something, but everything always looked fucked up. So maybe in HD I'll see that better, but I'll keep an eye out for that.
Dude, yeah, like even just that first introduction of Chiaki when she's behind the or in front of that hee-haw stage, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I was worried about you." Like that, like introduction to her, like I was like, "Man, I love this."
That's how
Like,
it needed to. Like it just transitioned perfectly.
yes,
Yeah.
I feel like that is like the biggest one of the more visually like striking strengths of Nocturne is that no other Megaten has ever made. Dang, I love the way this looks. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, Glib, do you have a best and worst yet? Do we need to pad for time more?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good now. I was good after Larrue went, actually, but
Okay.
I'll go. Okay, so my least favorite for sure is like the last 3 hours of the game, honestly. Oh, in the gameplay sense, not like the lore sense. Because
Yeah, I guess the final boss does suck. You're right.
because in the first sense, I felt rushed because I wasn't done playing the game yet, and it was like we had to record then, but we didn't because you guys didn't show up. But it's okay, it's all good. Anyway,
You guys meaning not
Only
me.
one laughing. Go
That
on.
was me.
I laughed.
I mean, I was there, so anyway, I hate the final dungeon of Nocturne. Also, I hate the dungeon so much. It's just too long.
Really?
It's just really, I hate it. And also, Noah and Lucifer. Those fights are just ridiculously long. They're not fun at all. They
I
kind of.
think Noah's worse than Lucifer though.
That
It
was
is for sure.
lame, but it definitely wasn't like.
Noah's for sure worse, but
Yeah.
Lucifer is also boring. Like it was honestly a letdown. People were gassed up that fight up so much. I thought it was gonna be cool. It was like just me sitting there punching them every 2 turns.
Asama's face is the worst, honestly.
Yeah, that's ugly too. What the best moment in the game is the first scene with the Kawa in the room in the hospital. I love that scene.
This month.
Yes, I love that. I love that speech. I love the scene, the part with Baphomet, and he attacks you. Well, no, he doesn't attack you. He threatens to attack you.
Yes.
That whole scene
I
is
love
very
the choice of Baphomet too. It's really interesting. The demon to choose for him to summon. Yeah, good. I'm glad that you had a intellectual opinion. I will say
unlike
though,
me,
like,
who said I like punching. Punching is good.
yeah, I will say, like, dude, Lucifer sucks. It's not even fun. There's nothing about it that's good. I love the scene leading up to it. I love the scene after it.
Yeah,
I've never done a super boss, but I've read about it, and I'm like, so you grind to the max level, and you make a certain party, and then you like follow a formula or something.
Super boss. He's not even a good super boss, bro. He's just like a regular final boss. Is an extra final boss. He's not even a super boss, really. I'm not gonna lie to you.
There's too many final bosses that I actually do like, to be perfectly honest.
That's fair. Yeah, that's kind of how it.
What you go?
So go ahead. No, I didn't have anything to say.
I think the only reason people gas him up is because it's TDE, and people act that's the best ending.
And they forget that that's not what they think is that ending's about is not what it's actually about because they're dumb. But
Not about being badass.
yeah, it's about being a puppet.
It's about being an epic demon.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the last final thing. This will only take a minute. Nocturne coming to Steam, right?
Coming to Steam.
What are the mods going to look like? What mod?
Not a fiend.
Not a fiend.
You're thinking about making a bet on what would be the first mod.
I think feet, like either feet or
I said in the other server, I said Demi Fiend no shoes HD.
I can see that.
HD toes.
Nocturne HD. Can't wait.
Or like a stupid drip meme or something.
And they're gonna put out mod in Joker.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Jared Leto Joker Demi Fiend.
Oh no, that's even worse.
Yeah, you could do like
I would actually like support a mod by donating to the person who did it if they did Nana Fiend.
Yeah,
that's
I would.
Such a funny thing.
Let's put a bounty out there. How much do you guys want to chip in?
I'll literally pitch in like $50.
Okay, I'll match that. I'll match that. We got 100 in the pot. Anyone else?
on the plot for a Mononapine mod.
Yeah, this is a bounty out to all you
Yeah, but a
degenerates.
good one, not like just like plugging in.
Yes,
another model,
yes,
like,
we
make
have
a
to.
new
We have
one.
to approve. If you actually want to do this, send us drafts or whatever. If you even give a shit, or if anyone's listening, we will approve it, and if it's approved, we will give you the money for sure.
Yeah, I'm down. I like the meme. I want to keep it alive. I think it's funny.
Yes. Please claim your Mononapine prize with us in the, I don't know, however you contact us. Any other mod ideas? What do you think?
No, I mean for mods, I kind of just want them to not do anything besides maybe like touching up the backgrounds and making them actually like HD, or like maybe some atmospheric stuff. But I kind of foresee a lot of memes. I don't think anyone's going to do anything of meaning.
You wouldn't want someone to edit the script to make it more accurate?
Oh yeah. Actually, thank you. That's actually smart. Thank you, Glibbb. You pay attention.
I want to see them dismantle everything and be able to explore the debugging mode or something like that.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Plug in those like bizarre like mod like Sid Davis and stuff, putting them into the game. I don't know. Ooh, actually, okay, here's something. They dig into the files and they pull out that weird Amaterasu like demo thing they made. I want to play
with the
that.
mirror.
Yeah, with the mirror.
Yeah.
I want to play that.
Well, modders, you have your orders. What?
For the mannequins. I don't know.
Reason for the mannequins mod?
Oh, maybe. That'd be funny, though.
It's not just. Well, I guess Isamu kind of bastardizes it, but it's not just his.
It's kind of, yeah.
But they don't, they're not invited.
They should just do a thing where their reason is to be human after all.
Maybe.
It's it's the freedom ending, but everyone's a mannequin.
Mannequins do not get happy endings. They probably deserve it the most, but they don't get a happy ending ever.
That's what makes it satisfying. I like punching mannequins. I'm probably gonna load in Nocturne
right now.
Leave the mud dolls alone.
Me at 4 a.m. getting up to go punch mannequins.
Yeah, so I think that's about it for the spoiler cast. I actually had this is the most fun I've had since Catherine, which is the only other one that I had playing the game.
But come on, we did Jack Bros. You fucking forced us to play that fucking game. You didn't have fun.
I refined my interests over time.
Great.
Jack Bros is still a pretty decent game.
And so was Solar.
So it was okay. I had a lot of fun with Synchronicity though. Prologue was fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next like fun spoiler cast, but I have a feeling we're gonna play something like Last Battle 2 or something.
Oh, we were doing stuff for the anniversary next. Is that what we said?
Oh yeah, okay, we'll do that.
Well, the anniversary is like in a couple weeks.
Okay, we're not gonna do that.
We'll do one, but in customary fashion, it'll be 9 months late. So
which is good because then it'll be super thorough, and we'll have read a bunch of stuff. We'll have a way more interesting banner. I think that's it. I've been Larrue, and with me is Neb.
Goodbye.
Spider.
Goodbye.
And the law boy, Glibbb.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Okay, that's it.
This is the part where sound test comes in.
Yes, this is the part where the trumpeter dude comes in. Listen for it very carefully.
This is the part where Metatron comes in.